Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split. I'm Matt,
I'm Josh.
and we have got UFC 257 coming up ahead this Saturday. It has been one busy week of MMA. Obviously, we've had two cards already in the last 5 days as we record this on Thursday evening. We are less than 48 hours away from the first pay-per-view of the year, headlined by the one and only Notorious Conor McGregor fighting the number 2 ranked Dustin Poirier. In a fight that isn't for the belt, although we suspected it might be, but without a doubt will certainly have major implications over who will be fighting for the belt in the
There's
future.
still time, Matt. There's still time. I'm not going to say it's not for the belt until the day.
Well, we've got a lot going on. Obviously, there's also Dan Hooker fighting Michael Chandler in the lightweight division. Another fight that could have serious implications for the title picture in lightweight for 2021. And a lot more action to come on the card as well. It's been a good week so far. I think we've had a couple of good cards, but if we're all honest, this is the one we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's going to be, pretty exciting. I'm just looking at the lineup right now. It's a pretty stacked card. There's a lot of fights I'm excited for.
Yeah, all the way through. Really good mix of established UFC talent, guys right at the top of their weight classes. Fights that are going to have major implications for the top 10 and the top 5 rankings, and a few really exciting up-and-comers that I can't wait to see.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, obviously, just to touch on a few things, this is going to be the third event now where we've had a few fans back. So we've had a couple of events to see how it feels. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that the ABC event had a little bit more animation from the crowd than the card last night with Chiesa and Magny. But how do you feel about the fans being back so far?
To be honest, it hasn't made a huge impact for me as a viewer yet. I think when you have a full stadium, you got that electricity in the air, it makes a difference. At this stage, for me, it's kind of like negligible. I don't feel like the performances are necessarily better because there's a few crowds there, but your hope is that it is more kind of rewarding for the fighters or more exciting, I guess, and fired up a little bit more. I don't know.
I feel
it is what it is. It is what it is.
I kind of feel we've seen the good with the bad. I feel like the Max Holloway fight showed everything that was great about having fans in live attendance. And then I feel the Michael Chiesa Neil Magny fight, where fans were booing at the end, and a fight that admittedly very grappling heavy, but without a doubt an excellent fight and one that any true MMA fan should be appreciating. And when you have that kind of taken away by the couple of thousand fans in attendance deciding to boo, it takes a lot away from me. Really does.
Yeah, I didn't notice it too much when I was watching it, I guess. I know it's something you obviously picked up on. It's not the first time that a crowd would have ruined an MMA event, and I suppose it's probably a better thing than the one. It wasn't at full capacity if it was that kind of crowd. The modern crowd is much more educated. Used to be a case that any grappling exchange would get booed. People wouldn't understand the significance of certain positions. The one that really bothers me these days is the Ric Flair woo that everyone does constantly. I feel like it's kind of like the South African World Cup with the was it Zuzu?
Vuvuzela.
Yeah, Vuvuzela. Those are so annoying.
Vuvuzela.
Vuvuzela.
There you
Well,
go.
fucking annoying. I Rose by any other name is super fucking annoying.
True.
I don't know. I pray we'll get back to normal sooner rather than later. But it's for me, it's not really getting the job done. I don't really feel like the crowds are back yet.
I get what you mean. I'm a little surprised. I felt that, this basically, from my understanding, it's going to be the same fans at all three events, mostly. They're either wealthy people who are more local and it was easier to travel, or they're people who have spent a lot of money. You had to think these would be real fans if you're going to go to this kind of effort. This isn't like, oh, we'll pop into Vegas and see a show that's on. A lot of effort's been put into traveling to this event and quarantining and testing negative for COVID at this event. So I'm a little surprised that it's been at least in last night's card, which has kind of soured it for me. There's been a little bit of a bitter taste, but maybe it's going to be different. Maybe it wasn't quite as many of the same people. And what I can certainly say is that there's enough excellent fights on this Saturday's card. I don't think it's going to matter. I think everyone's going to be cheering.
Yeah. It's impossible not to get excited for this one. Who you got in the first fight, Matt?
Let me bring up everything now as I access my notes. I'd like to also apologize if my voice sounds a little bit crappy and shit. It is because I'm not feeling very well, which is a shitter. So if I sound a bit croaky or blocked up, my apologies.
Hey, I forgive you, Matt. The first fight we've got Amir Albatsi against Zalgas Zumagulov. I probably mispronounced every single first and second name there, but I try my hardest. So first fight is a flyweight scrap. Amir Albatsi against Zalgas Zumagulov. Zumagulov did lose his debut in the UFC against Pava, but he has got wins against Ali Bogatinov and Tyson Nam. And
Okay.
I'm actually I'm going to pick him to win in this one against Albatsi.
Interesting. Well, Abatsi's obviously he won his debut in the UFC, but he beat Malcolm Gordon.
That's it, yeah.
And we've seen Malcolm Gordon's name pop up a few times, and it's usually at the losing end of an up and coming fighter. So, but then again, he's younger, only 27 years old, Swedish fighter fighting out of London. Listen, first fight on the card, let's not be too samey. I'm going to go Albazi by decision.
Okay, I'm going Zumagulov. I'm going to go decision as well.
Very nice. That takes us to the next fight. I think this is the biggest underdog or betting favorite on the card. We've got Mozvar Evloev from Russia, undefeated, 13-0, fighting the old veteran Nick Lentz. Nick Lentz is on a 2-fight losing skid to Arnold Allen and Charles Oliveira. So it might be a losing skid, but he's not exactly fighting idiots.
No, those are two great guys right there.
Really, really tough guys. And yeah, I'm not saying Nick Lentz doesn't have a chance, but this isn't a undefeated guy making his UFC debut. Evloev's already won his first 3 UFC fights, and he's looked pretty impressive. I can't look past Evloev. I'm going Evloev by knockout.
Interesting. I'm going to Evloev by decision. I feel like the Carney's just kind of playing out the string at this point. I think I'd rather see him kind of retire, to be honest. He's not going to push any further up in his career. He's done everything he needs to do. I think the Charles Oliveira fight probably should have been the last one. But yeah, I'm going to go Evloev by decision.
Agreed. And that takes it to your first pick for the next one.
Yeah, so next fight, Andrew Sanchez against Mahmoud Muradov. Sanchez, strong mullet game, winner of the Ultimate Fighter against Khalil Roundtree. I forget which season it was with Joanna and Claudia.
That is the one.
But yeah, I'm going to go Mahmoud Muradov for this one. And I'm going to go decision again.
Yeah, I agree with you on Muradov. Andrew Sanchez, he's a good fighter. Obviously, beat Roundtree, but he's beat Marcus Perez and Wellington Turman, who are no bums, but they're not elite level fighters. He's lost to Anthony Smith. He's lost to Marvin Vittori. Muradov's on a 13-fight win streak. He's beaten ADC. He's beaten Trevin Smith. Both guys are similar age. Muradov, the more experienced fighter. I'm saying Muradov. Did you say by decision?
Yeah, I'm going decision.
Yeah, I'm going to be the same as you on that one. I'm going decision as well. Now,
nice.
Talking about Khalil Roundtree, Khalil Roundtree Jr. is up in the fight afterwards against Marcin Prachnio from Poland. So Khalil Roundtree Jr. had retired. He's done this a couple of times where he's had a bad result. He's gone away for a long while, trained, brought some new tools to his game, and then come back and had a great performance. We saw him do that and come back against Eric Anders and look absolutely fantastic with real classic Muay Thai skills. But then he got knocked out by Kutalaba. And I think, I mean, at the time, I think even he thought that was going to be his last MMA fight, that he was going to retire. But he's come back. I can only think that he's been training. He's going to have some new tricks, and he seems like a real for the martial arts kind of guy. He doesn't feel like he's one of those in it for, looking to try and get a paycheck together kind of guys.
No. And that Eric Anders fight, he came out of Bangkok ready. I remember reading someone said Johnny Walker elbowed the Muay Thai into him in his previous fight. He looked the business against Eric Anders. Look, getting knocked out by Kutalaba, it was elbows from the mount.
Now,
he's a strong guy. He can catch anyone.
Yeah.
For me, Khalil Roundtree is head and shoulders above Prachnio.
Well, just to mention Prachnio quickly, he had a good record in ONE FC, but since he's come to the UFC, he has lost all 3 of his fights. You've got to think that this is a make or break for him.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything past a Khalil Roundtree Jr. win. I'm going to say knockout. I've got a feeling he looked at the Kutalaba fight and thought that he's got better technique, but he was just a little bit undersized for that. I think he's gone away, added some weight and power, and he's going to come back looking to get finishes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going KO on this one as well.
Very nice. Takes it to your pick first for the next fight.
So Sarah McMahon, Juliana Pena. I'm going the Venezuelan Vixen all day, and I'm going to go by submission on this one.
Yeah, I agree 100%. She lost the last fight against GDR, but I mean, come on, GDR is an absolute beast. She hasn't been fighting that much in the last 4 years, though.
She had a kid, so she took some time off to be pregnant, and then obviously to be with her baby.
Yeah, Sarah McMahon coming off a win last year, right at the start of last year. It's literally been just about 12 months since that fight. But I don't think she's as good as Pena. I don't think she's got the same weapons, and she's coming into this 40 years old. I just think she's well past her prime.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that sounds a little mean, but I generally agree in the most.
Dude, if DC was past his prime at 40, and DC's prime was at like 37, so come on, there's no shame in not being in your prime at 40. I'll say this though, I don't think this is a finish. I think Sarah McMahon's tough. I think Pena gets a decision.
All right, okay. We need some tiebreakers in this one. So.
Did you say decision as well?
No, I said submission.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that takes us to the next fight. We're off the Fight Pass prelims already. We're right into the heart of the main prelims. And we've got Antonio Carlos Jr. fighting Brad Tavares. Obviously, Brad Tavares is the 12th ranked fighter in middleweight. Had been as high as number 7 or number 8, but he's lost his last 2 against Adesanya and Shabazian. Both performances in very different ways were very dominant and very much, showed the distance between him and the real elite guys. And Shabazian isn't even necessarily an elite guy. Carlos Jr., on the other hand, started very early in his UFC career. Had been doing quite well, was on a 5-fight win streak until he came up against Heinisch and Uriah Hall. Lost to Dan Kelly back in the day. He seems to have a narrative that he just can't really get past those top higher level guys. Brad Tavares, I think, should win this. He's on a bit of a downturn, but if you look at their careers, I think Tavares should have this on paper. I'm going Tavares decision.
Yeah, don't forget, Shoeface won the Ultimate Fighter Brazil at heavyweight. I agree. He's lost when he comes up against like the top guys, but Tavares, his best win's Drotko. Shoeface has got Tim Boach, Vittori on there. Beat Margaris Hagerio de Lima in the Ultimate Fighter at heavyweight. I'm going to go Shoeface. Again, I'm going to go by submission.
Interesting. Okay, we've got a bit of difference there now. And that takes us to card. And kicking off the main card, we have got one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, my favorite fighter at strawweight, aside from Rose, who obviously is always going to be number one. The very dangerous Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas, fighting Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez has got a good record, 12-1-2. Amanda Ribas has got a better record, 9-1, 10-1, I believe is a record. You've got it in front of you.
Yeah, 10-1.
10-1. I cannot see past Amanda Ribas in this one. I think Amanda Ribas by submission. I think they both have got some promise, but if you look at the difference in explosiveness and technique, in well-roundedness, Ribas has got the judo, she's got the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, she's got that great Muay Thai stance and striking, and you see the variety that she's got as well. When she fought Mackenzie Dern, she kept the fight completely on standing up on the feet, outstruck Mackenzie Dern. Next up, when she fights Randa Marcos, just completely outgrapples Randa Marcos, and then against Paige Van Zandt, just submits her with the armbar. So she's got a variety of ways to win. And she's just a star in the making. I think this is the fight that starts catapulting her up to the interesting side of the division.
Oh, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, Marina Rodriguez, she has got a great record. The last fight, split decision, lost to Carla Esparza. Cookie Monster's no joke. Draw with Cynthia Calvillo. Beat Tisha Torres, Jessica Aguilar. I definitely think Amanda Ribas is going to win this fight. Wait. Have you picked the method yet? I should let you go first on this one, right?
Oh, I said by sub.
By sub. Oh, okay, perfect. I was thinking sub. I'm going decision though.
I think it's I could easily see it being a decision. Amanda, she will more than happily just control you for 15 minutes if that's the easiest way to win. But she wants finishes. I think it's something that frustrated her with the Randa Marcos fight in particular, and she corrected it very quickly against Paige Van Zandt. And the thing is, listen, she's the daughter of an MMA coach. She spent her entire life in the gym. Technically, in terms of the love, the passion, the understanding she's got for the sport, I think she's got everything she needs to go right to the top. On to the ladies, and I'm not 100% sure on this one. Listen, I want JoJo to win. I do. And before I watched Vivian Araujo dismantle Roxy, I was pretty sure that JoJo was going to go through Jessica Eye because I feel that her record is not reflective of her ability. I think she made the drop down to flyweight at the right time to beat a couple of easy girls, become a quickly established number one contender. It infuriates me that she's had issues with weight. I think she's clearly tried to play some games on the scales as well with her fight against Cynthia Calvillo and ended up looking terrible in that fight. But JoJo didn't look that great in her last fight against Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia certainly no joke, a dangerous opponent. And, you look at JoJo having to go to hospital afterwards, clearly issues with the weight cut, didn't look herself. It's a who can pick them. What I would say is that I think this is I think both of these ladies have got more to lose than they've got to gain. This isn't a fight that's really going to get them straight back into the title picture. This is a fight that's going to stop them descending further down the drop list and outside of the top 10 rankings. I think Jessica Eye's got better boxing. I think JoJo's a more tough and well-rounded competitor. She can be a little slow, though, and that's what I'm worried about. But I'm still going to pick JoJo. I think she's more powerful.
You going by decision or?
Decision.
Okay, I agree with you to an extent, although 125, it really depends what the other girls are doing. Shevchenko, I think, is going to continue to run the table, continue to dismantle competitor after competitor. So for JoJo, it's just a case of sticking around in the rankings long enough to get that first fight. She was scheduled to fight before she took the Maia fight. Obviously, it looks like a terrible decision now. Yeah. I think for me, this fight, it depends which JoJo turns up, If it's the JoJo that we saw against Valerie Letourneau, then I think JoJo's got this fight. If it's the JoJo that showed up against Jennifer Maia, then Jessica Eye is going to take this one. But I'm going to go with JoJo by decision.
Okay, so we're in agreement on that one as well. And that takes us to our co-main event. We have got Dan Hooker, the Hangman, fighting Michael Chandler, who's of course making his UFC debut after having massive success and being a multiple-time lightweight champion in their Bellator lightweight division. Michael Chandler 21-5 against Dan Hooker 20-9. It's obviously worth mentioning that a lot of those losses for Dan Hooker were down at featherweight, which was never his weight class.
No, it's amazing he ever made that weight.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picking
this is.
first on this one.
Oh, is it your turn to pick first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it. But if you pick first, you got to give the bit of the intro into the guys as well in that case.
No problem. I will repeat what you have said. Michael Chandler, I think 3-time lightweight champion at Bellator. Didn't leave Bellator as the champion. That'd be Patricio Pitbull Freire. But Michael Chandler is a really explosive wrestler. He's got heavy hands, not necessarily a knockout artist, but he can definitely rock guys. And I think he's going to be a little too explosive for Dan Hooker. And I think in a 3-round fight, Michael Chandler is a more muscular guy, uses a lot of energy in his takedowns, in his striking game. I think a 3-round fight favors Chandler too much, and he's going to take a decision on this one. Dan Hooker on the other end, he's a guy that has, he doesn't necessarily defend takedowns at an elite level, but what he has got is a very well-timed knee. And he's landed that multiple times against, I think, Ross Pearson and Jim Miller, maybe. But he can certainly make you think twice about shooting from too far out. And obviously a very durable guy, real tough guy, a bit of a volume striker, but not necessarily the most technical, definitely more of a brawler. I just don't think he's going to be able to trouble Chandler enough over 3 rounds to get a finish. And I think that anytime this fight goes the distance, be it 3 or 5 rounds, it's going to be Chandler.
Interesting. I completely disagree. If you look at what's troubled Dan Hooker in his recent career, it's not guys that come in with a wrestling heavy approach. He's shown excellent takedown defense for the most part. Okay, in the Dustin Poirier fight, he did get taken down. But if you were rewatch that fight, he initiated the first couple of clinch attempts. And it was really more Dustin Poirier taking advantage of that and then bringing him to the ground, really as a sign of exhaustion. The guys that have beaten Dan Hooker have been better than him in the stand-up game. You're thinking Edson Barbosa, and you're thinking Dustin Poirier,
Rodriguez,
Yair Rodriguez, even down. Look at who he beat at lightweight. He beat Gilbert Burns at lightweight. Gilbert Burns is an outstanding wrestler, outstanding grappler. Maybe not in the way that Michael Chandler is.
He's not an outstanding wrestler. And while I agree Dan Hooker has good takedown defense, he does not have elite takedown defense. But most importantly, other than Ally Quinta, who is not on Michael Chandler's level, he hasn't gone up against anyone with serious takedowns and a good grappling game. He's gone up against guys with a good grappling game, but nobody that has takedowns like Chandler. And I really don't think he's going to be able to defend against Michael coming in, shooting double legs or chasing singles.
I think that Dan Hooker is a guy who's looking at his last performance against Dustin Poirier and thinking, I put in a really bad performance. I just tried to outgrit the one guy in the division that you will never outgrit. Look at what he's gone through to get here. He's going to be not allowed to stay at Fight Island for the next month. He's going to be basically just trapped in Abu Dhabi, not able to go back to take a flight back for about a month, where he's then going to have to quarantine for another 2 weeks. He's given up about, 8 weeks of his life just in travel and quarantine to make this fight. He's going to have none of his coaches there. This is a guy on a mission. And I honestly believe that Michael Chandler, 5-6 years ago, was right up there with the elite of the division. I think the sport has passed him by. And I don't think that he's been able to face the kind of competition and be around the kind of level that would have helped bring him up at the same rate. I don't think this is going to be close. I honestly think that Dan Hooker is going to show how much better he is technically. I think he's going to be able to deal with the takedowns. I think he's going to be able to completely outwork and outstrike him. I think his movement's going to be a huge factor. And I just think he's going to end up walking away from it with a real technical showcase of striking that gets him a unanimous decision.
I don't know. I think you're sleeping on Michael Chandler's strike up too much. I think you
I
got too much
don't.
faith in Hangman
I have
there.
seen too many guys come across from Bellator and other divisions as the hot shit, and they come to the UFC, and it's the first time they've fought real competition, and it's not the same. And Michael Chandler might be like an Adesanya, but he's been beaten by guy. It's not like he's got some immaculate record. He's been beaten recently. And I know Patricio Pitbull is a great fighter, but correct me, is he not also the really more of a featherweight?
Oh yeah, he's a natural featherweight.
Yeah.
But
Um,
it was an outstanding performance, and
I,
Chandler has won his last two fights. Sydney Outlaw, I
he
wouldn't
beat
say
an
is UFC
old,
caliber,
and
but
he beat an old Benson Henderson.
yeah,
It's
but he
not the
beat him
same.
convincingly, and it is still Benson Henderson.
Maybe so, but
Um,
put it this way: I consider Michael Chandler to be on the level of Eddie Alvarez. Now, I do not think that Eddie Alvarez would beat Dan Hooker. I don't think Michael Chandler would either. That's not to say that I don't think Michael Chandler can have a good UFC career. I think they've done this completely the wrong way. I think they are just chucking him in right at the top. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be against top 10, but there's other guys that we could have been seeing him fight first that would have taught us more about him and given him more of a chance. I think Dan Hooker pieces him up. I don't think this is close.
all right, we'll see, we'll see.
That takes us on to the main event, and it is my turn to introduce it based on our little system here. This is the big one. We have got, after a year out from his TKO victory against Cowboy Cerrone, we have got Conor McGregor coming back, miraculously still ranked number 4 in the lightweight division, and nobody knows how, against the number 2 in the world, Dustin Poirier. This is the big fight. A rematch of their fight back in 2014, when Conor was on the rise and Dustin was sort of a bit of a name in the featherweight division. Obviously, we all know what the story was. Conor got in Dustin's head, wound him up at every opportunity, got him to fight poorly, and then knocked him out in 90 seconds. That led to Conor McGregor's road to the title and then to becoming a double champ. It also led Poirier to making a decision to go up to lightweight, and since then his career has been very different. The only losses he's had is one poor performance against Michael Johnson, where he got caught, and that was when Michael Johnson was still the guy taking a lot of big scalps in that lightweight division. Obviously, he's got wins over people like Tony Ferguson as well. Um, and obviously Khabib, and I don't think there's any shame as losing in the lightweight division and your title shot to Khabib. So Dustin's become the man that he is and the fighter that he is since that loss to McGregor. I want Dustin to win this fight so badly, but I can't let that influence my picks anymore. Um, I saw somebody make a very good point, which is that most of Dustin's improvements are mental. I know he's put weight on and his boxing has improved, but he hasn't added a lot of new skills. He's just improved and the quality of the skills that he already had. Connor has improved physically as a fighter. I think he's put more weight on. I think he looks more physically impressive. And I really can't see past a Connor win here. I think this is the worst fight for Dustin possible. It's a similar to Cowboy Cerrone. It's a slow starter who needs a little bit of time to get into the fight and then can get his rhythm against somebody who starts lightning quick. I'm going Connor by TKO, and I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it first. I really want Poirier to win this one, but again, I'm going McGregor by TKO. If Poirier talked about wanting to make it a war, and if he can, that'd be amazing. But I don't know. I just don't see it happening. If he can keep dragging the fight to the ground like he did against Pettis, then I could definitely see him stealing the guillotine out of some poor head position. But McGregor is a lot better on the ground than people think he is. He defends takedowns excellently, and I think he's going to be a lot sharper in the stand up, especially early, as you say.
Do you
Um,
think, sorry to interject, do you think there's an element of Dustin's camp or Dustin's mind that thinks, well, since we moved up to lightweight, we took the punches against Alvarez, we took the punches against Gaethje, we took the punches against Dan Hooker. your chin's different. You can take a few of these shots from McGregor now. Because if
No,
that's the mentality, then I think
Mike
absolute
Brown's
fucking
not that
disaster.
stupid. Mike Brown's not that stupid. No, they won't think about it like that. They'll think about how his footwork's better, his hands are better. His striking between then and now is night and day. I definitely think, honestly, like if you want to talk about, Poirier is the much more improved fighter since their first fight, but I don't think it makes a difference with this one. It's just a bad style matchup for him.
I agree.
Um,
I don't
I
like it.
hope
I
I'm
want to
wrong.
be wrong.
I hope I'm
Yeah,
wrong. Yeah.
I want to be wrong. Dustin's the nicest guy, but I feel like the games have already started. Like nobody's picking up on this, but this Mr. Nice Guy out from Conor McGregor, I think it's his new way to wind people up to get in their heads. Everyone's expecting this onslaught, and now they're getting this disarming, friendly, still being confident, still saying he's going to win, but being respectful. Oh yeah, I donated money to your charity. And Dustin, he was saying at the conference, no, I must try that hot sauce that you're a part of. Come on, give me a taste of that hot sauce, all this kind of stuff. And I think it's this idea of just throwing them off a little bit, creating that disarming force. And then look at how he started the Cerrone fight. He was all Mr. Nice and then came out throwing the biggest left hand he's ever tried to throw in his career. Quick start.
Maybe. I think this is a guy trying to save face in the midst of a case for
I think there's part of that.
civil court case, essentially.
I think there's part of that. But I think he is a guy that has that kind of constant mental warfare mentality. And I think whether or not that's a byproduct, or the main goal, I think he's still I think he's still finding a way for it to benefit him tactically.
Anything's possible with this guy. Anything's possible.
But listen, if Dustin can get past even just the first 3 minutes, and I don't mean get past the first 3 minutes like he's wobbled to hell and he's barely standing and Connor's going in for the kill. I mean a clean first 3 minutes where he doesn't get caught by anything and he's calm. His chances start going up. But he starts slow, he tends to get caught, and if Connor starts quickly and catches him early, I think it's going to be really difficult for Dustin to get a foothold in the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think he will. I think McGregor will, find openings early and often, and it's just it's not the result I want, but it's going to be what it is.
Listen, we've got to learn our mistake from Roxy.
Roxy's different. I can't pick against Roxy, man.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we love to see the underdogs win in MMA, and Dustin has a chance. Make no mistake, we're not saying that this is just going to be a walkover, and don't think that Dustin is a bad fighter if he gets knocked out in round one. It's styles. Sometimes you just come up against the wrong fucking guy. I just think this is one of those situations. Dustin versus Tony, I think Dustin wins that fight every day of the week. Dustin versus a lot of other people, I think he presents a challenge, not McGregor.
I think McGregor's. Dustin has great hands. Dustin has amazing hands. But the problem is his head movement, his footwork is very much MMA oriented. McGregor can come in and switch up to very much more of a boxing kind of style of attack and just keep sort of finding that head, risking, maybe taking counter shots or kicks.
Don't forget about the kicking game as well. Caught. The hook kicks, the spin kicks.
He's not at his best when he throws these. They are good, and he throws them nicely. But he used to throw them in a wild, early way back in the day. Once he's reined it in, and he very much concentrates on his hands. That's him at his best. That's what I expect to see. I'm not saying that he might not tag him with the hands and then knock him out with a kick or something, but I think over the first minute or two, it's very much going to be punching combinations and trying to set up that straight left or feint it and come in with like the left uppercut or the lead uppercut like he likes to do. It's going to be a tough night for Dustin, and I think it's going to be a short night as well.
Well, we're going to find out. Obviously, you and I will be watching, staying up as it is required when you live in fucking Spain and these cards start at 4 a.m. We've definitely enjoyed these last two being at a more reasonable time, but back to our normal reality. We'll be watching them, and then obviously we'll be back on recording on Tuesday, hopefully releasing on Wednesday, our breakdown of the card. Obviously there won't be UFC next weekend, so I think for next show episode we kind of just do a sort of prolonged breakdown of everything that's happened on this one. And who knows, maybe the week after that we do another little special, something like ring names.
Maybe work out our business plan for name and fortune.
Absolutely. Name and
Yeah.
fortune. It's going to take over the world. Till next time.
All right, take care.